In this video, I'm going to show you how to label a surface. We've created the surface, but we need the contour elevations on it. So we're going to go to Prospector, and I'll show you my surface. So we have our surface that's been created. Now I want to create the contours on here. So I'm going to go up to here to Annotate, and I'm going to pull down my Add Labels, go to Surface, and you can add contour labels at multiple intervals. So I'm going to select that. So it's Annotate, Add Labels, Surface, come all the way to the bottom, Contour multiple at intervals. That means it is going to add contour labels all the way through a continuous contour at a certain interval, and I'm going to say about 200 feet for this. For each project, your interval might be different. Depends on the size of the project. So I'm going to select contour interval. So it says, down here it says, add contour, pick first point. So I'm going to pick a point up here because I'm going to run a line all the way through. So I'm going to pick a point here, and the second point through here. And then it says, what is the interval that I want to run it along? I'm going to do it 200 feet. Now, it's added contours at every 200 feet. Now there's a line that runs through it. This is a little bit too much. So I'm going to change the style of my contour interval. So to do that, I'm going to come over here to my existing. I'm going to go to Surface Properties, and it pulls up the dialog box, and I'm going to change it to 2 and 10 background. That means that every even station or every even contour, it's going to have a line. Now, on these, you can clean up the drawing. We don't want these dashed lines in there. What that is, I've got my properties box open. What that is on the line, it is the surface contour label group line. In it, I want to turn I'm going to pull this over a little bit more so you can read it. I'm going to turn the display contour label line off. I'm going to turn it to false. When that happens, it turns this line blue, and it gets rid of those lines. Now, you'll have to individually select all the ones that show up and get rid of the rest of them. Okay? So, on this one, you can highlight a bunch of them and turn them false and get rid of them like that. So you can highlight and use your properties box, select the contour label as groups, and then go ahead and turn them false so they turn all off. Alright, so that's one way to label. If the label size is too large, you can adjust that too. So you can click on the label size, and what it does in the properties box, oh, by the way, just in case your properties box is closed, type in PR for properties, and it pops up. Alright, so select one of the labels, the contour labels, and what you're going to do is you're going to adjust the surface contour label style. So I'm going to change this, and I'm going to go create and edit, and it says existing major labels, and I'm going to go edit current selection. I'm going to change the size of it. So in layout, you've got information, general, and layout. In the layout, it tells you what size the text is. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller to 0.03 and click apply. You can also rotate the text. You can see how it's selected, how it's attached, whether it's to be the middle, the center, all different places. Usually you leave these as defaults. We're going to do that as is. And typically you don't drag a contour label, but if you did, you can change the leader lines on that. Apply and OK, and apply. And now you can see it's a little bit smaller. Now I have to do the same thing on the minor contour labels. So I select the minor contour, create and edit, pull this down to edit current selections, and I'm going to change the layout size again to 0.03. Now, whenever you're changing something, the label style or a block style, you're always going to have information, general, layout, drag, and summary. The summary has information based on what is visible and based on components that is broken down into what you can manipulate and make look better in the drawing. You've got different components, whether they're on, whether they're off, what size they are. I'll go into a little bit later video later about that. So I changed the size of it. Text height and said it's 0.03. So I apply and OK, and then OK. Now they're all the same size, and they're all a little bit smaller. Now if I change my mind and I change that properties back to 1 and 5, apply and OK, they're still going to be small size. Something else that you can do on this is you can actually drag a contour label and move it out of the way. That'd be a little bit much work, but it is an option. Now notice that every basically 200 feet between labels is labeled. You can also be selective and go, I want to, when I highlight the surface, it also gives me another option to add labels up here, and I want to do spot elevations. So I could just add, you know, single contours and just pick where I want it added. Okay, that's another option instead of doing the straight line. Depends on how much information you want labeled. All right, so that's it for labeling surfaces.